What is meant by administrative action? How do you distinguish the administrative act from quasi-judicial act? Ans. Executive power is not defined in the Constitution. Article 73 relating to the Union of India and Article 163 relating to the state deal primarily with the extent of executive power. In Rai Sahib Ram Javaya Kapoor v. State of Punjab, 1955, to SCR 225, AIR 1955 SC 549, the then Chief Justice Mukherjee pointed out, Para 12 of AIR. It may not be possible to frame an exhaustive definition of what executive function means and implies. Ordinarily, the executive power connotes the residue of governmental functions that remain after legislative and judicial functions are taken away. In Indian Railway Construction Co. Limited v. Ajay Kumar, AIR 2003 SC 1843, it was observed that administrative action is stated to be referable to broad area of governmental activities in which the repositories of power may exercise every class of statutory function of executive, quasi-legislative and quasi-judicial nature. It is trite law that exercise of power, whether legislative or administrative, will be set aside if there is manifest error in the exercise of such power or the exercise of the power is manifestly arbitrary. The court will be slow to interfere in such matters relating to administrative functions unless decision is tainted by any vulnerability like illegality, irrationality, and procedural impropriety. Whether action falls within any of the categories has to be established. Mere assertion in that regard would not be sufficient. Thus, administrative functions are those functions which are neither legislative nor judicial in character. Generally, the following ingredients are present in administrative functions. 1. An administrative order is generally based on governmental policy or expediency. 2. In administrative decisions, there is no legal obligation to adopt a judicial approach to the questions to be decided, and the decisions are usually subjective rather than objective. 3. An administrative authority is not bound by the rules of evidence and procedure unless the relevant statute specifically imposes such an obligation. 4. Administrative functions may be delegated and subdelegated unless there is a specific bar. 5. While taking a decision, an administrative authority may not only consider the evidence adduced by the parties to the dispute, but may also use its discretion. 6. The prerogative writs of certiorari and prohibition are not always available against administrative actions. Distinction between administrative and quasi-judicial function in state of APV, S.M. K. Parsurma Gurukul, AIR 1973 SC 20-37, it was observed that the test for determining whether a decision is an administrative one or quasi-judicial has been clearly specified in a number of decisions of this court. Essentially, they are three in number. 1. There must be a lease between the two parties. 2. The opinion should be formed on the objective satisfaction and should not depend upon the subjective satisfaction of the tribunal, and 3. There must be a duty to act judicially. As to what is a quasi-judicial as against an administrative or ministerial function, Lord Loreburn, LC in Board of Education v. Rice, 1911 AC 179 at p. 182, had stated, comparatively recent statutes have extended, if they have not originated, the practice of imposing upon departments or officers of state the duty of deciding or determining the questions of various kinds. In the present instance, as in many others, what comes for determination is sometimes a matter to be settled by discretion, involving no law. It will, I suppose, usually be of an administrative kind, but sometimes it will involve a matter of law as well as a matter of fact, or even depend upon a matter of law alone. In such cases, the Board of Education will have to ascertain the law and also to ascertain the facts. I do not add that in doing either they must act in good faith and fairly listen to both sides, for that is a duty lying upon every one who decides anything. But I do not think that they are bound to treat such a question as though it were a trial. They can obtain information in any way they think best, always giving a fair opportunity to those who are parties in the controversy for correcting or contradicting any relevant statement prejudicial to their view. Similar sentiments were also expressed by Lord Haldane in Local Government Board v. Arledge, 1915 AC 120 at p. 132. The Lord Chancellor there stated, when the duty of deciding an appeal is imposed, those whose duty it is to decide it must act judicially. They must deal with the question referred to them without bias, and they must give to each of the parties the opportunity of adequately presenting the case made. The decision must be come to in the spirit and with the sense of responsibility of a tribunal whose duty it is to mete out justice. The principles distinguishing a quasi-judicial function from one which is ministerial were more precisely set out in Province of Bombay v. Case Advani, 1950, 1 SCR 621, AIR L 950 SC 222, wherein it was observed, 1. Where there is a lease, there is prima facie in the absence of anything in the statute to the contrary the duty of the authority to act judicially and the decision of the authority is a quasi-judicial act, and 2. Even if there is no lease inter partes and the contest between the party proposing to do the act and the subject opposing it, the final determination of the authority will yet be a quasi-judicial act provided the authority is required by the statute to act judicially. Hobieli Kanya CJ had observed that it is broadly stated that when a fact has to be determined by an objective test and when that decision affects rights of someone, the decision or act is quasi-judicial. This last statement overlooks the aspect that every decision of the executive generally is a decision of fact and in most cases affects the rights of someone or the other. Because an executive authority has to determine certain objective facts as a preliminary step in the discharge of an executive function, it does not follow that it must determine those facts judicially. When the executive authority has to form an opinion about an objective matter as a preliminary step to the exercise of a certain power conferred on it, the determination of the objective fact and the exercise of the power based thereon are alike matters of an administrative character and are not amenable to the writ of certiorari. These principles have since been acted upon by Apex Court in subsequent decisions such as Nagendra Nath Bora v. of Hills Division, 1958 SCR 1240, AIR 1958 SC 398, Radhesham Khare v. State of Madhya Pradesh, 1959 SCR 1440, AIR 1959 SC 107, Gullapalli Nageshwar Rao v. Andhra Pradesh State Road Transport Corporation, 1959 Sup. 1, SCR 319, AIR 1959 SC 308, and Shivji Nathubhai v. Union of India, 1960, to SCR 775, AIR 1960 SC 606. So following principles can be laid down regarding quasi-judicial act. I. That if a statute empowers an authority, not being a court in the ordinary sense, to decide disputes arising out of a claim made by one party under the statute which claim is opposed by another party, and to determine the respective rights of the contesting parties who are opposed to each other. There is a lease and prima facie, and in the absence of anything in the statute to the contrary, it is the duty of the authority to act judicially, and the decision of the authority is a quasi-judicial act. And 2. That if a statutory authority has power to do any act which will prejudicially affect the subject, then, although there are not two parties apart from the authority proposing to do the act and the subject opposing it, the final determination of the authority will yet be a quasi-judicial act provided the authority is required by the statute to act judicially. In other words, while the presence of two parties besides the deciding authority will prima facie and in the absence of any other factor impose upon the authority the duty to act judicially, the absence of two such parties is not decisive in taking the act of the authority out of the category of quasi-judicial act if the authority is nevertheless required by the statute to act judicially. Quasi-judicial functions. Illustrations. The following functions are held to be quasi-judicial functions. A. Disciplinary proceedings against students. B. Dismissal of an employee on the ground of misconduct. C. Confiscation of goods under the Sea Customs Act, 1878. D. Cancellation, suspension, revocation or refusal to renew license or permit by licensing authority. E. Determination of citizenship. Administrative functions. Illustrations. The following functions are held to be administrative functions. A. An order of prevention is held to be administrative function. B. An order of acquisition or requisition of property. C. An order setting up a commission of inquiry. D. An order making or refusing to make a reference under the Industrial Disputes Act, 1947. E. An order granting sanction to prosecute a public servant. F. An order granting or refusing to grant permission of sale in favor of non-agriculturist under Tenancy Acts.